Alright, so these are my three audience members. You got Jacob, Kasim, and Kane. And the reason I chose them is because they're still in high school and they were 14 years old just a couple of years ago. And they agree with my topic. So my topic is lowering the driving age to 14. The reason I chose this is because when I was 14, I already knew how to drive, and most 14-year-olds at this age do. Where I live right now, the driving age to get your license is 16, and that's most states in America. The state next to us, South Dakota, you only have to be 14 there, so if kids can do it there, I don't understand why they can't do it here. And right now, New Jersey is the state that has the highest driving age, and it's 17, which is pretty old. Why I think we should lower the driving age to 14 is because reaction time when you're younger is faster than when you're older. So 14-year-olds can react faster than most adults, and just faster reaction time can reduce accidents and anything like that. Driving is a privilege, so giving them their license, it could help them build responsibility and be more mature. Right now, most teens who are 14 or 15, they drive illegally, like on back roads and stuff, before they have their license anyway, so I don't understand why they couldn't just get their license and do it legally. Kids usually have better visions than adult, so better visibility is just less accidents to happen. Also, if you lowered it, it could help kids get jobs at a lower age, because then they don't have to worry about getting a ride to work or anything. They can drive to and from work. Also, it could be beneficial for the entire family, because then a kid, he could run errands for the family or pick up other siblings or anything like that, and the parents don't have to worry about it. 14-year-olds now are in high school, so they're already decently mature, and so most parents work an 8 to 5 job, and so like it's hard for them to get to school and get home because their parents can't pick them up or anything, and if there's no bus route by your house, then you have to find a ride from someone else. It's just a huge hassle that could be avoided if you could just drive at 14 legally. And if this went into effect, then you would have to take driver's ed before you got your license, so prior to 14 or 13 years old. And this would be required to get your license, and you have to take the computer test too. And all the kids who are 14 in South Dakota right now, that's what they do, and they can drive, and there's no difference from the kids there to here, so kids here should be able to do it. Right now, at age 14, you can legally operate a moped, which I understand it's not a car, but it's similar because you can go anywhere on the road. The only place you can't go is on interstates because they don't go fast enough, but they already have the capability of driving anywhere, so it's kind of the same thing in a car. When I was 14, both my parents worked, so it was always like a struggle to find a way to get to school because I live over 5 miles away and I couldn't walk. So I always had to ask like friends or friends' parents for rides, and it was just a hassle that could have been avoided if I could have just drove to school. Also, I got a job at 15, and I couldn't drive to that. So my parents would need to drop me off and pick me up from there, and sometimes I worked till like 10 o'clock at night, and on like school nights where my parents worked the next day, they wouldn't want to come get me because they usually were in bed by that time. And the school permit isn't that beneficial because you have to be 5 miles away to get it, and if you live like 4 miles away, you can't really walk to school when you're 4 miles away, but you can't drive, and if your parents have to go to work, you're like screwed. So, because it would take like probably at least an hour to walk to school if you live 4 miles away. If this did go into effect, just to have the kids not be like screwing around or anything, you could put a driving curfew from 6 in the morning to 8 at night, just so they're not driving around like on the weekends or really late. Overall, I believe the reasons you should be able to drive at 14 is because school, so you can drive there and back. Your parents don't have to worry about giving you a ride. You don't have to ask around for a ride. Most parents work, so I don't know if it's school or on the weekend you're going to a friend's or anything like that. They don't have to worry about giving you a ride. You can just drive there yourself. If you get a job at 14 or 15, then you can drive there and back, and your parents don't have to pick you up. Like for mine, when I was working late nights, they had to come pick me up, and they would hate that. But I could drive there if I would have had my license. School permits, they're good for some people who live a decent amount away from school, but people who live anywhere from 2 to 4 miles away from school, they kind of get screwed out of the deal because then they can't get it. But 4 miles is still a long way from the school. You can't really walk that in the morning or at night. And kids in South Dakota right now, they do it at 14 years old, so I don't understand why we can't do it here.